JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. October 11th, 3:32 on this fine Friday afternoon. Talk really quick about the markets. Really quick rant here. I don't have too much to say that I already said this morning. Take a look at a SPY trading over 580 for the first time. Right here, barely over 580 right now. Just an impressive rally. I mean, since Monday, it's been nothing but upside. So let's see what we are. So right now the S&P on the week is up about 1.2%. So it'll make it one, two, three, four, the fifth week in a row to the upside for the S&P. And now we're going to head into the earnings season. We already had the banks this morning. See these big moves: Wells Fargo, J.P. Morgan, BlackRock, all up 4 to 5%. Bodes well. Columbus Day is the holiday. Markets is still open. Banks are closed. I think the post office is closed, but there's not much in the way of earnings because it's kind of like a holiday, right? What do they call it? Indigenous Day now? I don't know. So the earnings start again on Tuesday. You have more banks. I think it's Goldman Spectacular. You have the other banks: Citigroup, Bank of America, I guess. And then Thursday, Netflix, Intuitive Surgical. I think Johnson and Johnson this week. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Yes. All right. So, blue sky breakout. New highs typically beget new highs. We're here at 580. We'll see what next week brings. We have always over the weekend is geopolitical tensions. So that could be some kind of event that maybe to cause pressure over Monday, Tuesday. Who knows? But for now, a nice move to the upside for the markets. And I post that historical performance in bull markets, right? It's a 2-year anniversary of the start of the bull market. We're up 60% since then, and the average range for a bull market's 5 years, with an average gain of 180%. So uh, we'll have to see how that all plays out. But very strong rally here on the SPY. It's above its upper Bollinger Band. 580.14 now is the upper Bollinger Band. So maybe right around there we close there. Maybe some chop around provide some more upside into next week. The VIX, right? I made a little joke. It's like it's been stubborn, annoying, I guess you would call it, frustrating. If the VIX was at 16 or 15 this week, I would have been a little more aggressive on the call side. But just seen it so many times over the years where the VIX was like the leading indicator, right? That was like the tell. It was like if you're playing poker and you could see someone has a certain mannerism when we're bluffing or what have you, and it's like you see it before, you have to take heed the next time you see it, right? You can't just dismiss it. So sure enough, what is it doing? Almost got back under 20. The VIX, despite the 1.2% rally in the S&P this week, is still up 5%. So riddle me that, Joker, right? I don't know how can't make heads or tails of it, but hopefully it gets back under 20 next week, and then I can stop talking about the VIX. But if there is a good sign, it's the small caps up 2% today. Huge move finally. Hopefully the start of the next leg for the small caps. I think that would bode well, especially for a lot of names I like, because a lot of names I trade are typically of the small cap variety. All right, so that's overall market. So individual names, SC finally broke out, tested 100 handle at about 11:30. I was able to close some more of my October hundreds for nearly over 400%. I still held a couple just because the premiums will really start to ramp if it gets to 103, 104 Monday or Tuesday. So I just have a couple more of those, and I also went and added some October 25th strikes, which are the week after. Just because you see it churned since the end of September, churned between 90, 94, 96. And I think it hit 98, and then it kind of flatlined, consolidated, and then you see this big move today. So I would not be surprised to see it trade into the low to mid 100s Monday, Tuesday, and then possibly start to head towards the 110, 115 handle. Not going to go on a rant on SC, but just a great name, great story, great growth story, great way to capture the boom. And I talk about Meli Cabra, ticker MELI. It's like the Amazon of South America, and SE is kind of like that for Southeast Asia. It also has business in South America, and it has 3 segments of its business that are just growth monsters. And I've said it already. I mean, they'll have earnings, and the premiums are kind of expensive to encompass earnings, but I think the instant they show profits, and then that starts growing, they have a huge cash hoard. And once that starts going, just back 125, 130, 140, but maybe that's in 2025. But I'll continue to look for opportunities to play that one for upside. AMD started to bounce in the morning, I think all the way down to 160. Did it hit 163 and change this morning? And then it just started to melt higher. And I was actually looking at the 167.50s. I think they were like 30 cents. The 170 weekly lottos, the strikes that expired today were like 6 cents, 5 cents. And then it pulled back down to 166 or 165. I said, oh, I'll pass. And then once it started to go again, I went and got those 170 weekly spec lottos. And I haven't traded a spec lotto on an expiration day in quite some time. And they actually paid out, right? So I got those 170s, closed some out for double, then some out for 400%. I held a couple. Those will expire, but made some nice coin on that trade. Of course, in hindsight, if I had done the 167.50s, probably made a little more sense, but it could have went the other way. And especially when you only have a couple hours left in the session, you get a contract for 30 cents and it drops $1 in a matter of 10 minutes. Those 30 cent those contracts are now going to be 10 cents or less. So I always remember back in the day, used to look forward to option expiration day because it was only on the third Friday of the month. And that was the only time you could trade options and have like a lotto type scenario play out. Because most times, if I was doing 170 AMD calls, they'd be expensive because it was pricing it, you had still 3 weeks to expiration or 2 weeks or 1 week. So anyway, rants for other days brings back some memories. So that's AMD. I was talking about on a watch list, possibly looking for some calls into next week. I'll just probably pass on it because I got those DELL strikes. And you take a look at DELL. DELL's up the last 4 sessions above its upper Bollinger Band. Maybe you can make the case that's maybe a little far stretch, but I think what's happening or what's going to happen is the event yesterday with AMD. It just adds more uh, valuation to the servers, the end of product, right? So the Dells, the Super Micros, but more so for me, the Dell, because that's just the name I prefer. Uh, but I think that trades into the 130s next week. So it's hitting highs here, slow and steady. Typically, Dell has that gap up and then fade, and actually held its ground pretty well. Uh, so I have the 135s. I'm not going to add anything just yet. Past that, we'll see how it plays out because the last time I got Dell calls, I think I was two weeks ago. Into the final week, it fizzled. I think I got the 135 strikes. And that was more because HPQ announced some kind of concerns around their margins, and then that just caused a sympathy move in Dell. Warranted? I don't know. I don't think so. There's already been concerns on Dell that have been kind of refuted in regards to their margins. Anyway, so that's Dell. Win Resorts, I was looking for some more strikes. You had the two positive analyst notes this morning. Morgan Stanley upgrading the price target to 112. Susquehanna from 92 to 122. I'll wait till next week. The I think Taiwan Hang Seng was closed overnight. Well, Friday. So that'll open, and we have to see what's going on. Supposedly there's another press conference in China heading into next week. Maybe that's going to be. Maybe they figured their misstep on Tuesday. They'll make up for it with another bazooka announcement. If that's the case, you'll see some of these names run. So still have the 115s on win. I'll wait till next week to add some strikes. WW is actually hitting lows right now. It's down like 13%. I put it in. I don't know if I mentioned on the rant this morning, but it churned 2.7 times. It went through its outstanding share count 2.7 times in the last 3 sessions, which is remarkable. So I think it's 79 million shares there, outstanding share count, and I think it was 280 million shares of traded hands on WW over the last 3 sessions, not including today. I don't have the volume on WW right now. It says 26 million. I don't know if that's accurate. Uh, Sitting here at 170, you look at the chart and I'm like, maybe it can go back down to 140 next week. I don't know. I still have plenty of time on the calls. It's not like they expire on Friday or what have you. And unfortunately, sometimes it's tough to hold some of these volatile names. I mean, the stock was under $1 to start the week, so I have to think at some point there was going to be a little pull. Hopefully, find some footing, get some hype over the weekend, and it can rally. So that's WW. And then Roku, it looked like it was going to go up and test 80 today, and then it kind of found some resistance, trading up just about a 1.5%. Netflix earnings Thursday, maybe that will help be the catalyst. The other thing is Netflix is down today, so you take a look at Netflix, and you had, I think, Guggenheim raised their price target $100. Someone else came out and raised their price target, and this is ahead of earnings next week. Who's a Macquarie, whoever you pronounce it. And then I think yesterday there was Citigroup adjusted a price target, Morgan Stanley yesterday. So there's 4 positive analyst notes on Netflix. I think they're all positive. Let's see, Morgan Stanley. So surprising to see it down here. Actually, it's only down less than 1% right now, but we'll have to see how it plays out next week. I'll have the implied moves out tomorrow. And that's about it. Hopefully a rock and roll week next week, make up for some of the the V and MasterCard put hedges. Unfortunately that pull on Monday kind of, and the VIX and the 10-year yield over 4%, all those things together just got me into, do this long enough. I have to have put hedges on when I'm in call positions when I have a plan. And the plan was once it broke that 568 handle on the SPY, which it did, the VIX was high. So, I can rationalize it. I mean, I'll do it again. I would, of course, if I knew we were going to have a rally to all time highs at the end of the week, I wouldn't have got the put hedges. But anyway, allows me to sleep at night sometimes, right? That's it, folks. Let's have a great weekend. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else here. Dell, SE, AMD, WW, VIX is here at 2040. Baidu as well. I mean, I was looking to get some more calls. I'll just sit on my hands on that one as well. But I think at some point that's going to head over 115, 120. I might look to play it post earnings, into its earnings report for some premium build. That's it, folks. Have a great weekend. I'll be back on audio Monday morning. Rock and roll.